So the people, the future generations can see how the lives of the people of Wild Station come together in their construction, in their collaboratives. You know, we had the postmaster went to the Supreme Court in Indiana and won the first case. And he did that because the bridge went out. And nobody all the way up to the Supreme Court would see fit to repair that bridge. It's called the Black Bridge. But we needed that bridge to get our goods and our products out of our community. So we want to case the Supreme Court of Indiana by going and think about it. That was like in the 18th, early 1900s. He went from Southern Indiana to Indianapolis to fight for a community, for a people, not just for him, but for the betterment of everybody in the community, in this African American farming community. So there was more than farmers. We had a lumber mill, like I said, we had a grocery store, we had a military, and we were totally self-sustaining. And this is the scope of work that started in these people. So as a young man, growing up in Wild Station, my dad, he worked with his family farm, but he also worked with a lot of other farmers at the same time, learning different aspects of farming. His connection with the farmers in his community gave him skills and knowledge that led him to be a resilient farmer. And he did the same thing for the other young men in the community that worked with him and watched him. The community nurtured him, encouraged him, and taught him. And the love for his community actually inspired him to buy that school to this people, because it went up for a tax sale. And he said, "This is my school, and I want to make sure that we preserve this school." You know, because it was embedded in him the importance of his community from a child, from the stories that he was told. And so the consolidated school, which is now a visual site of the community's togetherness and resilience. He learned and experienced lessons from other farmers, such as, oh, you guys probably know, if you're good to the land's going to be good to you. Lessons about protecting and nourishing the land. Understanding that farming is about faith. You know, in these resilient people, a lot of people in Wild Station, we're like at the Ohio River and Wabash River come together in the community. So early on, we had to deal with flooding. So these people had to deal with flooding, you know, flooding out all their crops, flooding up their animals, you know, so they had to be resilient enough to endure through this in order to make a living. So he also learned about protecting and nourishing the land and understanding that farming is about faith, and working the land grows and builds a deeply rooted connection to the earth that feeds your body and your soul. The soil and the soul are intertwined, and he learned that the land is everything. You know, the land feeds him, it fed his family, it made a way out of no way for him. You know, so as we see, it's a shared endeavor. It's a connection. It's about community. It's about coming together. Resilience is a connection and community with the cornerstone of collaboration. So the resiliency of my father and the early farmers of Wild Station as a resilient, self-sustaining community, a settlement of pioneers, became a community of resilient people was because of their connections and their collaborations. In these connections, that helped him to see the fullness of his being. It helped him to be resilient. So we're going to talk about regeneration. Regeneration is carrying forward that legacy with that same strength, that same determination, and that same vision. This is what they instill in the kids by telling those stories, by the kids watching those other farmers. This is the legacy. So, you know, a legacy you think comes from a family, but a legacy can also come from a community. A community of telling you stories, a community of being resilient, a community of having determination. The legacy that moves forward is more of a moral compass and a thought process that is passed down more than the physical. You know, so there wasn't a lot of physical, but there was a lot of, you know, education is the key. That school said education is the key. You guys get your education, and that can be the key to your future. You know, you come over here and help this farmer, and you know, the collaborations are coming together. And it comes from one's character, the reputation, and the life being led, setting examples for others, and a guide to their future. You know, on this one, this is my dad, one of his workers. As I said, he taught the other guys in the community. And that top picture is actually in the Smithsonian. And my cousin, he's my first cousin, and his dad was a produce farmer. So, you know, the land is everything. The next picture is my dad and his classmate, he's a farmer, sitting on my son's produce wagon, which was my uncle's who passed away. So that generational knowledge, both of those two men were about 85 back then. And spitting that knowledge and giving those nuggets. You know, when my son decided to go into farming, the community encompassed him the way that they had encompassed their dad, my dad, and everybody else in the community. You know, and that teaching of the land means everything. You know, like I said, it's the resilience and it's the connection in the heart, the connection with the land. You know, legacies provide guidance and inspiration for family members and those impacted by you, the lives you live, and impact their faith, their homes, and their business. Everybody here has a legacy. So you need to be intentional, you know, about what is your legacy? Because your legacy is what you're doing and people are watching and what you're passing on. So it may not be, like I said, it may not be your kid, or it may not have come from your dad, but it may have come from your community. And it may be what you do for your community. So, you know, when you think about legacy, think about being intentional about what am I doing to pass on for the good and the betterment of society. You know, what is it that I'm going to be remembered for? What is it that pushes me on? So we may not be in a physical community, but we are a community of farmers that know that we have to be that light. We have to be that light, that hope for the future generations to see. So all your work that you're doing, don't go in vain. Let them see you, spit your knowledge, spit your names. All the things that you're getting here is nuggets to take you a little bit further. We are a community of remnant farmers who have passed on to us a determination to lay out knowledge. Right there, my inspiration. That's my dad. Standing in here, you know, life isn't easy. We all know farming isn't easy, right? Farming is not easy, but it's that love. Because as farmers, we're not doing this for ourselves, right? Everything that we do is for somebody else. So you got to have that love in your heart to push it on. You know, be innovative, to be the risk takers, to do what it takes for the betterment of your families and your community, to be about having an empowered life from the connection you have with the land. Whether you aspire to, whether you're born into it, whether you, whatever it is, it's your connection with the land. And we as American people have a connection, and especially the BIPOC farmers, because we've worked this land for centuries and centuries and centuries. So So just like we connected with farmers and farmers, and them connecting and collaborating and networking with all these organizations that are coming here and bringing access to information and opportunities to learn and to connect and to be strengthened by this community of farmers who desire to keep agriculture relevant and relevant for this country. So it's about connection. We may not be in that outstation community, but nowadays we are in community because we can stay connected over the phone. We can stay connected over the internet. We are connected regardless. We can stay connected and get that information. The people who are on the panel, they're not all from Iowa, but they're bringing this information to you because a lot of this information is universal, it's federal, so it crosses state lines. And that's what we have to do, is to come together as a community of farmers, of BIPOC farmers, of row crop farmers, of small acreage farmers, and come together for the betterment of our agriculture community, because it's always changing. So we always have to be innovative. We always have to be in the know, sustainable, climate smart, because the things like I tell my son that was for him, well, the things that my dad, he did mules. Then he moved on to big ag. Now my son can't do big ag, but we gotta be innovative. And like for me and Todd that have the mantle now, we have to be able to help them to navigate through what's needed. Do you need that high time? Do we need to change this from row crops to what? How do we make it more profitable? So this is kind of like the regenerational farming. It's regenerating. Regenerational farming and resilient farming is regenerating that legacy to push it forward. Can you do the video now? This is a video that was done for our family with farming. And it's just a little side into what we do. Little bit of my dad, just a little bit about us. So it's only a couple of minutes and we want to, Thank you. Sorry, buddy. Come on. It's the beauty of it. All of these freaking things. Technology is well. Thank you, everybody, for being patient. Video's not playing. Yeah. I'll put it back into this. Sorry, everybody. Yeah. Right. It is video is online. I guess let's see me to Rachel maybe. We should play during lunch. Okay, that'd be fine. It's no big deal. It's not a big deal. So, you know, passing down the legacy, passing the wisdom down is legacy. That's the Anthony and the someone with my dad. We get a lot of wisdom right when they come on the dad. And it's dad and the in the video, I don't know if this is a video or not, but there is one video with dad is telling the Anthony but you know, just being there is enough for him to have that inspiration and watching dad at 87. So, but we see the gaps and we are creating events like this and the opportunities in the states to bridge the gap, merging the wisdom of the past with the tools of the future, finding new ways to connect, as I said, in community by building strong networks and support administratives. You know, like the programs for small acreage farms within RCS. I think RCS is here today. You know, and the way that agriculture is going today, you know, seeing who we need. COVID was really important to see that the small farmers are still needed. The specialty crop growers are still needed. And we need to do things, to rethink things, to be able to help them to do what they love to do. So regeneration farming is rooted in the resilience legacy, a continued model for the future generations. You know, carrying it forward, nurturing it for the future, physically, spiritually, and so, you know, it's not just about crops, but it's about nurturing the legacy that spans for generations and generations of farmers. BIPOC farmers who were pioneers and who have worked and cared and lived for the land, who are deeply rooted in the land. You know, the legacy continues. The legacy continues. It continues through, you know, how and what is a succession plan. We talked a little bit on the panel about a succession plan, but when you think about a succession plan, what do you need to help that legacy to continue, to protect it, to pass it on? Succession planning begins with that intentional mentorship. You know, that intentional wisdom and empowering and encouraging, you know, generations by giving them the connections and the collaborations that they need, the understanding that they need in order to continue on and to be able to thrive in farming. You know, farming is not always going to look pretty, but you know, when you work with the soil, it's like working with your soul. So it may not look pretty, but it gives you the inspiration that you need. And when that time comes for you, that you'll be able to mentor and pass on what it is that is needed in order to have a love for the land, to protect them, to pass the land on. You know, giving those stories, giving those that guidance, giving that self-determination, transfer of knowledge, protecting the protection, the capabilities, and the conversations through preparing them to take it on. You know, I have siblings, everybody has siblings. But it's about being able to manage the land, being able to protect the land, put it in a certain way that it can be protected, but it also can be managed and loved and nourished. You got to have that desire. There's going to be a remnant. We're a remnant. So there's always going to be a remnant. It may not be my son, but it may be my sister's son or my sister's grandson, just like my father. His father had 9 children. He had 7 or 8 siblings, but there was one. It only takes one seed, and he's still farming the land that his grandfather protected for him. So for me, the mantle is my what it comes for me. I'm scared. Although I stand right beside him and I try to understand him, but I gotta have that faith of that legacy of those people in my community of Loud Station that has distilled in me to know that it's going to be protected, that these collaborations and connections that I'm making now are going to be what drives us to the future. You know, being able to connect with the other remnant of row crop farmers, and we say, okay, is row crops the way to go? Beneficial with that? Do we need to keep this equipment? But that connection and that community to let you know that you're not here by yourself. You know, because like I said, I came from a farming community, and now there's no more. You know, and so, but if I can talk to the Westerns, then that strengthens me. If I can talk to the Southern Black farmers, that encourages me. You know, that gives me knowledge, that gives me nuggets to know to keep moving forward with the legacy. Regeneration is succession. Those nuggets, regeneration, being able to know how to redo things, being able to connect in the new generation with the old generation, and being able to share the wisdom and connect and collaborate. Farmers like the Westerns and myself stand as beacons of hope. Examples of resiliency going forward, finding ways to allow to adapt to change, regenerational, trying to figure out how to make it work for the next generations. You know, we got to deal with climate smart. We got to deal with, you know, the different zones and stuff like that. But we got to also be able to stand tall on those roots that are in the ground that was given to us, so that our branches will be able to continue on when we do pass that mantle from us. So, like I said, it's not just about one cause. Be intentional. Understand that you do have a legacy, and that legacy will be passed on. So what will it be? What is your legacy going to be? Who are you going to bring alongside to ensure that your legacy continues on? You know, agriculture has brought happiness to me. Agriculture has brought happiness to our families. Agriculture has been, it's been the pursuit of so many people in the United States that we have started out in agriculture. It was a way out of poverty for so many. It was the food on the table for so many. And the way kids look, everybody in here, what you're doing in agriculture is going to be what sustains us as a country. So keep doing what you're doing, no matter how strong it is, no matter how changing it is. Just remember that your soul and the soil connect, and that soil that's intertwined with you will give you what you need to nourish your body and your soul. So the food that you're growing will nourish your body, but the work that you're doing will nourish your soul. So just remember, as you work and as you aspire to be a farmer, and you aspire to pass your legacy on, when you nurture and are good to the soil, know that it is going to be good to you, and it will be nourishment to your body and your soul, and for generations and generations to come. Stand strong. We're standing, and you see us, we're standing on some roots. You know, in Annalisa's book, if you get a chance, it's Annalisa Talks, and it's called The Bone and the City. And it talks about how the pioneers moved into the Midwest area. In her book, it shows settlements like 95 settlements that were in Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Ohio. But I looked at it because I went to see if Iowa was in there. But Iowa was like right on the cusp, but I'm like, so who says that Iowa's small farming communities wasn't included in this too? You know, somebody from Indiana might have just stepped over, or, you know, Illinois might have just stepped over and you know, settled in Iowa. You know what I mean? So you're looking at us standing on roots. And in her book, it said, when the people of Lost Nation went there, it was just woods. It was just woods. And they came with seeds in their hair and stuff intertwined with them. But with every one of those trees, there were roots, deep roots, that they had to dig up in order to make the land fertile, in order to move forward. When you look at me, our family, and the Western family, we're standing on some strong roots that are underneath us, and we're pillars of African American agriculture that we're trying to make sure so these are what it was. So that we can grow for the future. Sometimes we